narratives in my paintings are documentations of real people and real places in my neighborhood. And I hope I leave this world knowing that these works will be protected and will be seen by future generations. And that leaves me with a great sense of hope. My definition of my own art is experience. I think the scariest thing for an artist to do is to stare at a blank canvas and think about, what they're going to say in their work. And I believe that I have a lifetime of experience to talk about. Each artist has their own unique voice and signature, and to me it's not all about the palette you use and the brush strokes that you paint, or even the type of materials you work in. I think it's the messages that you create using those tools. Art is something that is home. It's very comfortable. I think art should be thought-provoking. But at the same time, I believe art is very personal. And I think that's what I do in these works. I share my very deepest, sometimes very dark experiences with the community. People that I've never met before come up and I feel like I know them because they truly understood the images in my work. They understood what I was trying to say with the piece. So whether a painting is very hard to look at because it entails a lot of violent imagery or relates to a very serious subject like drug addictions or gang violence and domestic violence, they are stories that have to be told. I think they're stories that we all share. It's not only in our barrio, our West Side barrio, that these very harsh lifestyles happen. It's everywhere in the world and in all communities. So there is where I'm able to share a connection with total strangers and people across the nation because we can totally relate by deciphering these symbols and these images. Real life inspires me. Everyday random events. A pair of sneakers hanging from a telephone pole. Those images become icons to me. They identify, where I'm from. They identify, the people that I surround myself with in my environment. They identify the future generation and what they will consider as iconic and what they consider as an art. The most important inspiration in my life is just having a good life and being productive and serving my community through teaching my students and inviting people to come and see the works and get to know the artists. Recently, I've been working in acrylic media, and that really allows me the flexibility to do literally thousands of layers of lines on these canvases. I'm a colorist. I love using every color in the book, but the technique itself actually was very accidental, I believe. It happened back in 1989 while I was working on this mural, the Virgen de Guadalupe, and I was commissioned by Father Elizondo to produce this 12-foot high by 10-foot wide mural. And so I called Vincent Valdez and I said, we have a really big deadline and it's a large piece, so if you could come out and help me. So our deadline was creeping up on us, and before 1989 I was trained as a traditional painter, very blended and modeled techniques. But I guess out of frustration, I wasn't very happy the way I was applying paint to canvas. So one day on the scaffolding in the cathedral, I just started hatching away at the canvas with my acrylic. And soon I stepped back and this line texture appeared, just very naturally. I really enjoyed painting that way. It was something very spontaneous, but I think also almost very spiritual, that I was able to, find my true signature, my true voice, and a very unique way of applying paint to canvas. I think a lot of artists do this. I think that we look back at these paintings and remember, this time when the work was actually happening. That's very important to me. I want to not only document the image, but I do want to document the feeling that I had when I painted these paintings. And I think that's something that will be part of me for the rest of my life. I think that San Antonio is definitely on the map of the contemporary art world. Large museums and larger galleries are looking towards San Antonio and recognizing homegrown talent that we have here. Such a tight art community that is fostered by our nonprofit arts organizations and our city government. That's what I'm always very proud to say I'm from San Antonio, because this is a town where you can be a working artist and live and work in San Antonio, but yet be able to send your work across the nation.